Hey folks, Rob here for quick vlog. I'll keep this fairly quick. It's basically something that's kind of been on my head. It actually came on my head a couple of days ago when I did the video for Spitfire. There'll be a link in the corner and in the description. And one of the things that happened when I was playing that, and a lot of discussions I had in the comments afterwards, was a lot about how a lot of where I thought that game didn't work. And that's particularly related to things like the size of the sprites going up against the size of the play area, and how the camera didn't really move vertically and it made it harder to line up targets. And one of the things that always happened was I went back and compared it to Wings of Fury. Wings of Fury is another horizontally scrolling air combat game in the same way, and it does a lot of things really well for the time and the hardware. And it got me thinking, I really want to cover it, but there's a problem. So probably for about the past year, about April is when I did it formally, but since season 2, I've been trying to do my videos for games that I actually own, or they're free downloadable games. And there's a lot of reasons why I do that, primarily to think about just the authenticity, like having a game, having the instructions, even if I use Flash hardware to run it, having the original documentation handy, trying to play off an original image rather than a cracked copy. It adds to the authenticity of what you're seeing on screen. But it also means that, I've got the instructions that I can actually understand how to play the game properly, because as I've stated in the past, blind plays are not something I prefer to do. I prefer to have a bit of knowledge. I prefer to explain that to people as I cover it. But the problem is, despite the gigantic size of the C64's library, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to get every game out there. There's a lot of games out there that are just impossible to find copies of. They're either going for astronomical amounts, they're incredibly hard to spot. Wings of Fury is actually quite an example of that. I've never seen a C64 copy of that listed. I've seen the Amiga one come up a few times, but not the C64 one. So it's a game I can't cover. And even the Amiga one still goes for ridiculous money. So I've been thinking, this little rule of mine, is it worth sticking to? I think, is it worth just doing that? Is it worth saying, I don't own that game, I'm not going to cover it? I mean, I'm sort of on both minds and I'm torn, and I actually kind of want to hear what some of you people in the community think, or what you do with picking games that you're going to cover for your respective channels. I think I think for people who are doing this on home computers, there's a lot of that aspect to it, because, I'll be honest, I grew up with a lot of pirate games for the C64. There are a lot of games I had pirate copies of, and I didn't have a proper original version. The games I got on magazine cover tapes and things like that. And some of those games are games I've hunted down now because I've good to have a proper copy of them, and others are because you know what I mean. So I've been thinking, is it worth, just like I said, is it worth keeping to that rule? Is it worth occasionally doing a dip at a game that I'm never going to be able to find a physical copy of, because I think it's interesting to cover and talk about? This is some of the stuff that's been going through my head in terms of some of the wider, direction I want to take things. You're doing the occasional different kind of review as well. So leave a comment or a vid response. I want to hear what, about, your selection criteria, how you pick games that you cover on yours. Are you, I know some people do pretty much show footage of just games they've picked up, so they've got physical copies of. And some people do, do random assortments. Other people might do like me. And I'm kind of interested in hearing that. And am I just worried about this when I don't really need to be, kind of thing? So leave a comment or a vid response if you think it's worth a little more detail. If you do leave a vid response, link it in the comment just so I can go catch it. But I just interested wanting to hear thoughts for a change. Not really trying a community question thing, and so here's my chance. So that's pretty much it. Leave a response, leave a comment. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subbing and doing the rest. I do, good interaction is always good here and there. And of course, I'll be back next week with another gameplay. Thanks for watching.